Aunty Loretta, it's beautiful here. Where have you taken me?
Taking you to the water gardens at Batemans Bay on Walbunja country. Now, Walbunja country is part of, it's one of the tribal groups. There are 13 tribes from La Perouse right down to the Victorian border. And it's labelled today under the UN, people call it the UN nation, or they just connect it with UN. Now, UN is a area that is enclosed with these. There we go. Is enclosed with these 13 tribes, and that was in a traditional sense. And look at the traditions. What we're doing now is trying to recapture after the colonisation that occurred. We're trying to recapture an essence of our cultural people to be able to keep our practices alive and to share the cultural knowledge that we as Aboriginal people have grown up with, or our parents have grown up with, or our great-grandparents and so on for 65,000 years. Not a lot of it was recorded, but after colonisation, Batemans Bay in 1897 was captured under the microscope by colonists. When we look at our history, my people were here for a long period of time before that. So Batemans Bay is very important in our cultural heritage and all along the coast, because our people moved up and down the coast until the influx of colonisation, where policies were set in place. So there was the dissemination of Aboriginal people. And one of the things that upset the balance of our culture was the loss of language. Our language was lost because when colonisation occurred, we weren't allowed to speak our language. We weren't allowed to dress or to hunt and gather as our ancestors had. And many of our people were shifted off country. When you get disassociated with country, a lot of families were sent to different places around the state. Now, these were state laws. But, you know, after 1901, when Federation occurred, you start to look at the big picture. Federation made a lot of changes and colonies were formed. The colonies were then changed to states. So under that movement, laws were changed, legislations were made to impact on Aboriginal people because we were sheerly known as flora and fauna within our community, or just referred to as natives. When we start to reclaim our heritage, we start to build up again our connection to country of who we are. And I've always had a connection to country, Batemans Bay, with my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, who were all born in country here. So that gave me stability and identity and ownership of where I come from as a traditional custodian. And my family traces right back through people from Wallaga Lake as well, Eden, right up to La Perouse. So there was lots of family members settled in different places. But we always call Batemans Bay our home. My brothers and sisters, some of them were born on country here, and some of them have died here on country, or have been buried here on country. They come home after a period of time because when our people die, they like to go back to where they were born. And if it's economic for them that they can be moved back to the country to where they were born, it gives them peace of mind that they can structure it and they can be in charge of where their resting place is. And their resting place is the lands that belong to our ancestors. And as custodians, and we're named as custodians, our lives are enriched through our social and emotional well-being because when you live on country, you become part of the landscape. You know how to read the landscape. You know how to navigate through the landscape. People are familiar. The familiar people become those people that you go and you say, I need some verification on this. And I look to my older brother and sister, particular ones who live local, to be able to verify things. And I had to do that the other day because it's about consolidating our historical content. And when we have that content consolidated, because it was passed on through the generations, it becomes your strong sense of belonging and our history, that our identity is still strong in the community. The wildlife is still strong. It wasn't until 1967, when I was a child, that we had a referendum, and that changed the integrated policies to at least let Aboriginal people have some rights. We've still got a long way to go. We're still working hard to maintain solidarity. People are fractured by trauma, transgenerational trauma. People are also impacted by the fact that there's still racism. There's still people who want to keep Aboriginal people in a box where they belong. They still want to be able to say to Aboriginal people that, you know, this is our country too. But, you know, the impact of that is that we were still the First Nations people. They are not the First Nations people. I say to that when you're a First Nations people, it becomes a responsibility. And we were dispossessed from land. We were dispossessed of our language, disassociated or dispossessed from our civil rights as people. And when we were able to then again say, I have a right to be here, it becomes a confidence too, that when you walk into a place, it belongs to you. It's that strong sense of beliefs that you have, and it becomes who we are in a place of sharing, but we are also strong custodians. And it takes a lot of time for people to realise that custodians, we are the people who look after country. We don't put a dollar value on it. What we do, we're not putting fences up to keep people out. What we're doing is, as all custodians, we have a responsibility to look after country because we're born to country and we live our life on country, but we die on country most of the time. And that gives you a strong sense of ownership without it being a dollar value. And non-Aboriginal people don't have that same sense of responsibility Unless there's people out there who are genuinely concerned about the environment. I'm not saying you have to be a greenie, but you have to be able to read the environment. Read what's happening. Have a look at the bird life around you. Have a look at the animal life. We can then take from that we're all part of this strong ecosystem too. We've got the land, we've got the water, we've got the ocean, the land and sea is very significant. And in traditional times, the sea that's where we got, because we're saltwater people, we got our food from. And it was easy to be able to get food, but only take what we needed. Yeah, we didn't want to, take everything that was on country. We needed it till next time we come along and share the food. And our great sense of sharing is another good quality of ours, that you share what you catch. And that happened all the time when I was growing up. My parents, that we were all a family, your cousins, brothers, sisters, your uncles, aunties. We were called the extended family. And our extended family is still present today. And that kinship is strong of who we are. And we're connected. Some of us don't talk, yeah, but that's all right. And, that's people getting busy in their lives. And some people don't think the same. We have different opinions, and that's okay too. And I think as people, as you grow up, you have strong sense of belief from who you are, and you're not that little kid anymore that your brothers and sisters know, because you feel as though you've outgrown them. You've outgrown them, but you still have a strong sense of belief and a commitment to family, or to who you should look after, who you need to look after, and who you need to engage with.